Okay, so I want to give you 3 things to help you do relationships better. Why? Because, man, what we know, when I say we, meaning you and me, relationships can be difficult, right? Relationships can be tough. When you have relationship stress, it affects everything in your life. And the thing is, we do relationships from the cradle to the grave. Isn't it interesting? At least it's interesting to me. It's interesting that we do relationships from the cradle to the grave. However, relationship is what we do. I ain't gonna say the worst. I was about to say we do that the worst, but we don't do it well. All right. So I want to give you 3 really short and quick things to help you do your relationships better. So here's the first one. Well, first, let me say this. The reason why I'm giving these, so all 3 of these kind of have something to do with conflict. And the reason being, I tell people, the reason that your marriage or your relationship goes sideways, it is not because of what happens in the relationship. No, it's because of how you handle what happens. Whether it's cheating, or whether it's coming home late, or whether it's you didn't cook or you burnt the food, how you handle it will determine how well you navigate those waters, right? So I'm gonna give you 3 things to help you do conflict better. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So here's the first one. The first one is learn to disagree. Learn to disagree. Now, learn to disagree. What do I mean by that? Because all of us, we know how to disagree, right? You say one thing, I say something else. What do you mean, learn to disagree? Learn to disagree in a way that does not destroy your relationship, okay? And the main point I want to make really is stop being so sensitive. Like, why are you so sensitive? You need your partner to agree with you for you to be okay. Like, you need for them to see, you need your partner's approval, right? You need for them you need them to see you as good in order for you to be good. Like, why can't we disagree? I want to encourage you to work on yourself so that when your partner disagrees with you, you don't take it personal, right? And so when I tell couples to learn to disagree, basically, I'm hot. I try to tell them, listen to your partner. What they tell you, that's their opinion. Those are their thoughts. You don't have to get upset about it, regardless of what they're sharing with you. You feel me? Like, if my wife said to me, trying to think of something. So my wife said, I don't feel loved by you. That's not a good example, but I'll go with it. When I hear that, I may disagree with her, but I can't disagree with how she feels. This is not a good example. That's why I'm hesitating, because this actually is an example for the second point. So let me try to find a better example for the first point on disagreeing. So let's say I'll use this. Had a couple in my office. They are looking to get a new car. The husband wants a truck because the truck has a huge back seat, just like a car. The wife wants a van for, like a little minivan for her and the kids. Well, for everybody in the, the kids, for them. So they're not agreeing. But the thing that they were doing in my office is taking the disagreement personal. Like, if you don't agree with me, then that means something about us. It doesn't, other than we're different. Here's what I tell people all the time. All of us humans have different internal dictionaries. Your internal dictionary is how you define the world, right? We may all have the same vocabulary, but we don't have the same definitions, right? And so That's the first thing. Learn to disagree. That's important, because if you can't disagree, every time one of us has a different opinion, we're gonna fight. That's not fun. I don't want to be in a relationship like that where we fight all the time just because, you made potatoes and I wanted rice, and because I said that, now you mad. You feel me? So, number one, learn to disagree. The second thing is this: listen for understanding. Now, by the way, there are obviously more than 3 ways to improve your relationship. I'm only giving you 3 today. But listen for understanding. Listen for understanding. Now, I have a personal experience to share with you that for me, I always like it when I teach things. And because I'm married, because I'm in a relationship, and because I'm a human being, a regular human being, and I'm doing relationships, the things that I teach, I have to work through sometimes too. There are times when I teach things that I guess I wouldn't say I know to be true, but I guess I should say I believe to be true, but I haven't had the chance to walk through it. And so then when I walk through it and discover how difficult it is, right? Because the things doing relationships are not necessarily easy, but then I get a deeper understanding of what I'm teaching my clients. And if you've worked with me, I'll tell you in office, like, hey, I struggle with this too, but this is still the right thing. So with this, it's the same way. So listening for understanding. I've been teaching that for a while, ever since I met Dr. Rick Marks. Has it been 2 years? I think it's been 1 year. Ever since I met him, I've been teaching about understanding, right? Well, yesterday, I got a deeper understanding of listening for understanding. And it was really simple. So here's what happened. Me and my wife was talking about something, and we weren't necessarily disagreeing. I guess we were disagreeing. So we were disagreeing. We were having a talk and we were disagreeing. But when she was making her point, I noticed that I wasn't talking, so I wasn't over talking her because I worked on that. But I was agitated. So after the conversation, because I'm always processing stuff after. So after the conversation, I head to work and I'm in the car and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, why was I agitated if I'm listening to her for understanding? Then it hit me. I wasn't listening for understanding. If you're listening for understanding, you cannot at the same time be frustrated. If you're listening for understanding, you cannot at the same time be frustrated. Why? Because the way the brain works, your brain, although you may think you are a multitasker, your brain can only do one thing at a time, right? When you're doing multiple things at a time, you're only focused on one. For example, this whole time I've been talking, I always talk with my hands. So I'm talking and moving my hands at the same time, but I'm not thinking about moving my hands. My subconscious is running that, right? So that's not a thought process. I'm thinking about the words that I'm sharing, but not my hand movement. In the same way, when my wife was talking yesterday, I was not fully listening for understanding. I was listening so that I could respond. Because in my mind, I already knew my point was better than her point. Now, if you've been working with me for a while, you can tell me what that is called. That is correct. It's called pride. And what is at the root of 100% of divorces? Pride. Okay. So I was operating in pride instead of love while I was listening to my wife. I was not listening for understanding. So the thing I want to encourage you to do is to listen for understanding. So that's the sign that you're not listening for understanding. If when you're hearing, you're also frustrated or getting upset by what they're saying. If you're getting upset, by what they are saying, you are not listening for understanding. Now, this takes a certain level of maturity. So here's what listening for understanding may look like. Your partner tells you something that you don't like. So I'll go back to my original, my other example that I said I was given for the second one when I gave it too early. So my wife, and I don't even know what that, I'll just make up another one, right? Because it happens all the time in all relationships where we're not listening for understanding. So, I had said my wife, if my wife came to me and said, I don't feel loved by you. Okay. Those are her thoughts. She's talking about her feelings. She is not talking about me at all. Listen to what she said. I do not feel like you love me. She did not say anything about me. She said something about how she feels. And she shared her thoughts. So if I'm mature, what I'm going to do is try to understand why she feels that way, as opposed to defend myself and say, you shouldn't be feeling like that, or that's a lie, I am loving you. She didn't say that I wasn't loving her. She said, I feel, right? So you listen and you would say, okay, wait, so are you saying that you don't feel a connection between us? Like and she'll say, no, I just don't feel loved by you. If you stay in the understanding mindset, it's like, okay, so help me understand, what is it that you see that makes you feel that way? Like what behavior of mine or lack of behavior that makes you feel unloved? You let her answer. And she may say something else. And this works even if your partner throws shots. So let's say you're talking to your husband and you're listening for understanding, right? And in he throws a shot like, yeah, and you always, well, what's something you always do? I don't know. You always, put my food in the trash and you never consider me. By the way, when you use you statements like that, those are attacks, right? So that's why I say those are attacks. You still can be listening for understanding, even though they're saying you, because even though they're saying you, they're not God. So they're giving you their opinion. And because they're flawed and because they're not you, they can come up with anything, which means no reason for you to get upset because you don't even like it. So you're seeking understanding. So you say, wait, so you say that I always throw your food away? I don't remember throwing your food away. But, I mean, if that's your reality, first of all, I apologize for throwing your food away. That was not my intent. I thought that you did not want it anymore, so I completely apologize. But help me understand the feelings behind that. Like, how'd that make you feel when I threw your food away? It made me feel like you don't care about me at all, and I don't even know why we're married. Wow. Okay. Are you saying that because I threw your food away, it makes you question the whole marriage? Huh. Tell me more about that, because that seems those are heavy feelings. So help me understand. Tell me about it. If you're truly, listen, if you are truly trying to understand, you are not going to get upset. So stay curious. Stay curious. Okay? In these conversations, listen for understanding. Make understanding one of your number one priorities. Stay there. Here's the third thing. Now, this may sound obvious, but trust me, as a marriage and family therapist in Texas with a lot of clients, this needs to be said. When you're in a relationship, provided you want to stay in the relationship, give your best. Give your best. Why is it that we get in relationships and we get complacent and we want to give the least but receive the most? Now, that works in the business world. Like, I want to give as little effort and get as much money as possible. I mean, okay, I understand that. But when it comes to relationships, that cannot be your mantra. You can't, I'm going to give just enough. Because when you do that, you injure the relationship that you are part of, which means you're injuring yourself. Like, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. You running, and then I'm going to take this gun, shoot it in my foot. But you're running. So make sure that you are giving your all. Why am I talking about that? Because again, like I said, it comes up a lot in my office. But when you hear your partner make a complaint, be quick to address it. Stop waiting days, months, and years, right? Somebody told me not long ago, I can't remember who it was, but it was a client, and their husband it was a wife, and the husband was wanting her to change something. And I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't something like, it wasn't any kind of internal childhood work. It wasn't any kind of real growing that needed to happen. It was just, she had this habit, she liked it, and she didn't want to get rid of it. And so she said, I mean, I could work on it, but it's going to take a while. And my thing was, why I got to take a while? You literally can make the choice and say, my husband don't like that, I'm not going to do it anymore, because it's not that big of a deal. Are you telling me that the thing you don't want to give up, the thing you don't want to change, the thing you don't want to address, the amount of giving that you're giving, when you're giving the least you are, you're saying that is worth your marriage? That is worth the love you say that exists between y'all? Of course not. But see, in order to give the best of you, you got to be a conscious parent. When I say conscious, I mean, so we live most of our lives at the unconscious level, meaning we just go through life just whatever happens, right? When you drive to work, you're not really thinking about the route that you're taking. If you've been that way many a times, you just kind of get there, right? And we live our lives that way. But when you are a conscious partner, you're thinking about, how can I be better? And that's like, how often do you wonder, even if the relationship is bad, even if you watch this, even if you feel like the relationship is bad because of your partner, how often do you ask yourself, am I giving enough? How can I give more? How can I be better? How can I make their life better, even though what they're giving me right now is crap? I know many folk ain't signing up for that. But that's what love does, right? So give your best. Stop dragging your feet on, stop procrastinating about stuff, right? I told a client, while you're waiting, while you're trying to make a decision, while you are, kind of circling the airport, waiting to land, your partner is on pause because their life is connected to yours. So if you don't make a choice, or if you don't move, or if you don't grow, or if you don't whatever, they're stuck. And ain't nothing they can do about it. Why? Because they're in a relationship with you. Like, they can get out the relationship, but that's not the goal, right? That's not the goal. So make it your business to give your best. Okay. So run through them real quick again. Learn to disagree, right? Don't take everything personal. Don't be so sensitive. Listen for understanding. Stay curious. And then the last one, give your all the time. Why? Because of who you are. It's better when the relationship is great and they deserve it, but the times when you feel like they don't deserve it, think about the times when you didn't deserve what you got from God and He gave it anyway. Like the breath you just took. You cannot prove to me that you deserve the breath you just took. So give your best, even when you're not getting their best. I got a bonus for you. I just started this one. I got a bonus. This one is really, this is for my husbands specifically. And I'm gonna do another video on this, a longer video, but specifically, men, husband, brothers. It is alarming and it is disheartening. Over the last maybe 3 months, how many men have come into my office with their wife, and their wife is all but done. And the brother says, this came out of nowhere. I didn't even know. Like, she just said she wanted a divorce. And so I said, well, no, let's save it. Let's go to therapy. How are you that clueless to the woman that you live with? So the point is this. I didn't give you the point. Husbands, pay attention to your wives. Husbands, pay attention to your wives. These marriages that I'm talking about, these are not 2-3 year marriages. These are double-digit marriages. And the husband is like, I didn't know. Are you saying that your wife this whole time has been acting happy and just joyful and just like everything's just been great? Then all of a sudden, bam, she said, hey, I want a divorce? That don't make sense. Can people lie and deceive you? Yes. But more than likely, at least in these cases, that didn't happen. And more than likely, that didn't happen with you, right? You got to pay attention to when she's distant, when she's not talking, right? Pay attention to when it looks like she's in a state of discontentment, right? Meaning she's uneasy. She's not settled. That may be her own stuff, but it may be something that you're doing that she's already addressed and she don't want to address it anymore. So now she's just resolved to just kind of go on with the flow. And then finally she get to the point where I can't take it anymore. Husbands, pay attention to your wives. It's really that simple. I think I need to start Manhood Mondays back because my fellas are suffering. You guys are, you know, y'all struggling. And some of it is, I'm not going to say common sense. It's not common sense, but some of it is not deep. Some of you guys are just sabotaging stuff for no reason. I shouldn't say for no reason. There's a reason, but whatever the reason, it ain't good enough to destroy your marriage. All right. So anyway, I hope these help you. These 3 things, well, 4 things now, because I gave you the bonus for the men. All right. Pay attention to your wives. I hope this helped you. Look for 2 things from me. Number 1, another video that I'm doing for the men. Like I said, I'm thinking about restarting Manhood Mondays. So if you are for that and you see this video, comment below that, hey, yeah, let's start Manhood Mondays back. And the other thing is I'm going to be sharing with you guys real soon, probably next week, to be honest, something really special that I am going to be asking you to be a part of. Not, well, let me see. I also say not necessarily for my benefit, but am I going to be benefiting from it? I guess I'll benefit from it, but it's more for your benefit. So I got something that I want to share with you coming up like next week. Okay. All right. So you guys stay safe. Remember to take care of each other and love authentically. All right. You guys take it easy.